The topic of the research is the hegemony of China in the United States in Diaoyudao and Senkaku territorial dispute and the role of Korea. The US and China are currently rising up to top two countries, G2, and have lots of capacity of being influential all over the world. Korea is in a position of being affected both politically and geographically from them. Korea is one of the most disadvantaged countries because of their locations that are surrounded by powerful nations. Korea is located on the Northeast Asia, which is surrounded by China, Japan, Russia, and North Korea, while U.S. Army is still staying inside of the country. 5 countries that directly affect the world policy are around Korea. As a country that is located on geopolitical area, the diplomatic response of Korea to each country will decide the future of the trend of the international affairs in Northeast Asia. Especially China and US, which are 2 countries among 5 nations, often go against each other for several controversial issues. Therefore, it is required to search the appropriate diplomatic responses for China and the US to maintain balance and play its role as a mediator between the US and China. According to the previous research, China is in territorial conflicts with several surrounding countries. Diaoyudao and Senkaku dispute is one of those conflicts and is being issued because of the intervention of the US. The study was started from the question of why the US has intervened in the dispute and supported Japan's position, which can be seen in a partial way, even though the dispute is occurring between China and Japan. This question on the intervention of the U.S. motivated to make the assumption that this territorial dispute is being an example of showing the relationship between the U.S. and China. Therefore, the main purpose of this study is on suggesting the assumption that the U.S. and China are competing for getting hegemony in East-North Asia. Even more, the main purpose of this study is to suggest ideal role of Korea in current situation based on the complete understanding of relationship between the US and China. In this study, the main idea that is mostly emphasized is the importance and necessity of the diplomacy of Korea as a geopolitical country where 2 supremacies frequently clash each other. Therefore, this study has a merit of making people perceive the current international flow and realize what we need to do for now. Furthermore, as Korea is being oppressed for international affairs, such as South and North Korea, from the both sides, the thesis with how Korea should behave will be a great help to end up with a successful solution. The study focused on existing thesis, historical facts, and reported interviews with high-ranking officials. The study used a literature study method. The purpose of this study is to clarify if the intervention of U.S. in the dispute is related to the hegemony in Asia, pretending that the United States and China are in competition to gain hegemony. Furthermore, the final goal of this study is on emphasizing the role of Korea as a country in geopolitical environment. Therefore, this study proceeded researching the range of particular dispute that shows the hegemony between 2 countries, and as a conclusion led to the importance of the role of Korea. In detail, through the research, the hegemonic competition of China and the U.S. could be identified, and then the fact that Korea is in geopolitical environment where it is affected by politics of surrounded countries made Korea into one important place where 2 hegemonies often clash each other. And at the end, this study realized the importance of the diplomacy of Korea as a country that has a role of a mediator. Although the current situation should be analyzed in realist view, nations should try to act in idealist way. And this study used the theoretical approach with international political theory. This study used 2 international political theory, which is realism and idealism. Realism is an international political theory that believes only the balance of power can be a way to maintain peace among nations. So realists strongly believe that this territorial dispute is an example of showing hegemony of China and the US. And in contrast, idealism is an international political theory that believes the peace of the international society can be kept by collective security. And Diaoyudao and Senkaku dispute is one of the territorial disputes occurring in the current days. The dispute is a territorial dispute between Japan and China. It was set in earnest after the possibility of abundant natural resources around the islands has turned out. And by suggesting the evidences of showing the intervention of the U.S. in territorial dispute, this study suggested 4 main evidences, including China's territorial dispute with lots of surrounding countries and the reaction of China to the Assad placement in South Korea. And for the United States, the study suggested the intervention in Diaoyudao and Senkaku dispute and the reaction toward the Dokdo dispute between Korea and Japan.